Let's go to Los Angeles. MSNBC's Jacob Soboroff is in Silver Lake neighborhood. Jacob, good morning to you. So voting is just getting underway there?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jose. Polls open here at 7 o'clock local time, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Just so happens conveniently, this happens to be my polling place. I'm a resident of California. So we came over here to check out what was going on. You know, there's a lot of worry, if I could bring you in and show you what's going on in here, that there would, turnout was going to be low after the Associated Press and NBC News declared that Hillary Clinton is the presumptive Democratic nominee based on the delegate totals with the superdelegates and the pledged delegates. But as you can see, in this polling location in the basement of St. Teresa School, people have turned out to vote. The big question today is how many people will end up turning out to vote. And the Hillary Clinton campaign is worried that people will not show up here in California because of this result, handing Bernie Sanders a fresh opportunity to score a big win here in California. There's over 6 million eligible voters in Los Angeles County, over 10 million statewide. And if Bernie Sanders can pull off a victory here today, his campaign is still hoping that gives him enough ammunition and keeps Hillary Clinton below a victory using pledged delegates only, that he can go to that convention in Cleveland this July with some momentum to have a contested convention in Philadelphia this summer. The issue is, it's looking like that is not going to happen, again, based on those superdelegate totals. But people are showing up today, whether or not they are Bernie Sanders supporters or Hillary Clinton supporters. We'll find out at 8 o'clock tonight when the polls close here in California. We talked to some people online earlier that were coming in, and they said, you know what, regardless of what happens here today, they want to see a contested convention in Philly this July, and that is what Bernie Sanders supporters have to look forward to at this point, Jose.
So that's what the Sanders supporters have been going with all week. But let's see what happens after today. I think it's going to be really a defining day in so many ways. Hey.
Well, other than completely blowing the intro, good evening, everybody. It's really late, and I know it's really late, and I know we're not seeing results that we're all happy with there as far as the states, but that's okay. That's okay. There's a oddly enough, Scott's pragmatism is helpful in these instances. We're going to talk to Scott about that in a minute. And as far as affecting the vote, well, yeah, they did. And as far as how much it affected, we have no idea, right? But that shouldn't even be the point. The point should be that it affected the vote, and it shouldn't have happened at all. It's not journalism. And there's tons of independent media that's reported on this. And the issue of who's got more delegates or not, who wins or not, is aside the point. When you report something that's not true, and you report it that way, and then you retract it. The AP actually retracted their report, added the word presumptive in there. But when you do that, you don't report the news. You create the news. And that means you're a propaganda machine. And that's why they're called the establishment. And the only reason I'm going to monologue for 1 second here on this is to just send a message to Hillary Clinton voters. Like, before I understood what was going on with the establishment, I was all about Hillary Clinton because I, too, was interested in having a woman's perspective in the White House. And those of you who actually know me or have known me longer than this election cycle will know that I have felt that way for a long time. I am a feminist. And I honor the feminine side of myself. And I believe that we need a woman's perspective in government in a big fat way because it's more nurturing and caring than men. And yeah, I say that because look around you, it's fucking obvious. Men tend to go around knuckle-dragging, murdering things. We like to beat up things and destroy things. Women end up picking up the pieces and caring for that culturally. Okay. Historically, you look throughout history, that's pretty common. All right. And I would have been awesome. I would have been just excited as all get out to have the first woman president if I thought we were electing somebody who represented the feminine. But I don't. Granted, I'm not a female, so I really don't get to make that statement. But as somebody who tries to honor the feminine within myself, I just don't see Hillary Clinton embodying those aspects of caring and nurturing. And as far as historic, and I see make history is trending all around, and I get it. Yes, a a human being of female gender is the presumptive nominee, and that is something of historical precedent in the United States, which is unfortunately really sad when you consider how many other nations around the world have passed this milestone some millennia ago. Okay. The sad thing, if I were, for women, I just say I'm sorry, because your first here, your historic first, will come with possible indictment, will come under the scrutiny of what appears to be a scandalous, fraud-ridden election. It comes with the acknowledgement by the media itself of the existence of an establishment and an establishment candidate, and your candidate being that individual. So while it is a first for women, it is also a first for so many other things that I would be ashamed of. And I would think of those things when you want a woman in the office. I do, because my bar and my standards for the first female president of the United States way higher than what you're giving me to vote for. So I just wanted to make that statement. And I'm going to bring in Scott. Say hi to everybody. And hey there, Scott.
Hello.
See, that wasn't too damning, was it? I didn't go. I was pretty calm there. How you doing, everybody? Thank you for joining us. I know it's late, and I know the results are depressing in one sense, but I don't know. Scott, you were the first one to tell me that, so what? The president doesn't have as much power as we like to say they do.
That was on a specific issue.
All right. So
you were asking me about fracking, and I was saying that it's better on the state level it's easier on the state level to ban fracking than.
All right. But I think that applies to a lot of things, and I was thinking about that as I walked away to go get chocolate milk. Right? I think that applies to a lot of things, because Bernie has said from the beginning that this is a bottom-up movement. The power comes from the bottom up. Bottom up means local to state to federal. Right? And that's what you were trying to say earlier on. So I just want everybody out there, the reason I'm saying that, and by the way, we've got a great feed coming in from ABC, scraped by Bernie Sanders speeches and events. But it doesn't end, right? So this is the foot-in strategy. We have work to do. But as of tonight, Scott, you were saying, based on the delegate stuff and whatever, it's really irrelevant heading into the convention, as far as you're concerned, right?
Unless there's an indictment or something like that, the super delegates are not going to flip because polls say that Bernie polls better against Donald Trump. It's a nice argument, but it's not going to be enough to.
No, it's not enough.
Because what we're asking them to do then is essentially what we're complaining about, is they would have to go against the will of the voters.
But
they would have to overturn the will of the voters for Bernie to win at this.
Well, assuming that we're looking at an accurate will of the voters, I get what you're saying. They should be looking at the will of the voters within their states, at least, don't you think?
But if you that was a cherry-picked article on. I have friends at U.S. Uncut, and they're at Carl Gibson and others. But that article, just to single out that 190, doesn't. If for Bernie to actually, the number is for Bernie to win, he would have to flip 300 superdelegates, and it's just there's got to be a better reason than he polls better against Donald Trump.
I understand that. So let me explain to everybody what we're talking about here. What Scott's talking about is the likelihood of us flipping enough superdelegates to make Bernie the nomination. That is separate from the idea that we're going to go to the convention and be able to contest, at least in some fashion. And it's also separate from the fact, and Scott, you have made this statement, that we're going to go to the convention with leverage, with power in hand.
Yeah,
Right?
it's gonna be.
Whatever power that happens to be, I don't know. And I don't know that we all know yet, because we're waiting to see what happens here and whatever. If an indictment happens or some new damning information happens, it could lend to more power or leverage.
Oh.
I'm not even convinced at this point, Scott, I'll be honest, I am not convinced at this point that if an indictment were to come down, they would take her out of the race. I think they would somehow write a new provision saying as long as, you know, she's going through indictment, she can run Oval Office and she can do it from the pen. What?
They don't need to write a new provision.
They can just say it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter?
Politically, she's going to get, if she gets indicted, she'll be forced out.
Do you
But
think
it's
she's
not-
going to...
there's not a legal reason that she would have to drop out. An indictment is not a conviction. Conviction's a long ways off.
And an indictment isn't good enough, isn't apparently bad enough in this country. We've let other people off for far worse, and they hold office, and they do things still in this country. Donald Trump.
An indictment. Oh, if they seek an indictment, and the indictment happens, it only means that a jury says there's enough evidence for it to go to trial. It doesn't mean she's guilty.
Right. And what do you? What I'm trying to get to here, guys, is that it's almost futile at this point to think that we're going to be able to fight the establishment dropping their queen on the throne or having their queen win the nom and then
they're going to drop the queen.
What?
If she gets indicted between now and the convention, they'll drop her.
Okay, but if she gets, that's fine. Will they drop her and put in? I thought they were going to drop her anyway. I thought just because of the likelihood of what's going to happen in the Nationals that they're going to ditch her after the convention and stick
take an indictment for them to drop her.
Really? So they will really try to run her against Donald Trump nationally.
I'm trying to figure what. That's what's happening. That's
right. But I thought we had talked before about the idea, and there's been a lot of articles about indictment or not, that they were looking to replace her with somebody who would do better.
If she's indicted, and no, they're not doing. There's nobody that's suggesting that they're gonna.
Okay, only if she's indicted. Then
she's not indicted. Yeah.
Okay, only if she's indicted. Okay, well.
And then there'll be a move, but I don't think. I think it's different than '68, and I don't think they'll be able to transfer her delegates en masse to Biden or someone. I think Bernie has enough delegates going into the convention that he would come out with the nomination if they were trying to recruit someone else.
Sorry, I'm reading the comments here, reading what people are saying, and I just want to make a comment on this because we're gonna play some other stuff on that, and I don't think there's going to be an indictment
blasted in there.
No. Actually, what they're saying is that you need to speak to this because you've watched this thing. They're speaking to H.A. Goodman. They're talking about H.A. Goodman's pieces about how Hillary's going to get indicted and all that stuff. And you said you'd listen to that and you know your 2 cents.
I didn't hear any solid evidence. It's all speculation, and nobody's got any sources that are saying that they're close to indicting. I see.
Well, I mean, there's been. Well, no, you're right. There's been a lot of stuff we've seen fly across the board: rumors, statements, hearsay, all that stuff.
I see a lot of even progressives quoting people like Joseph diGenova, just because he's got a nice. He used to be the U.S. attorney in the District of Columbia. He's a political tool. He's a right wing. It doesn't matter that he was U.S. attorney in district. That doesn't give him any more credibility. It's all political spin for him.
All right. Well, just take a break for a second. Let's look at the numbers, everybody. Eddie, are these as updated as they should be? Here's what we got here, guys. Eddie's been running a spreadsheet for us.
Have you gone above 30? 3
We're
or
at 32% reporting in California.
so it's still primarily the mail-in, I think.
Yes.
I don't think there's any of today's count in there yet.
Okay. Yeah, so understand this, guys. Oh, Jesse found another stream. That's awesome. Understand this, guys. What we're looking at here is doesn't. I'm sorry. Explain what it doesn't include, Scott. There's a lot of numbers it doesn't include.
It doesn't include. I don't think it includes people who voted today.
Okay. We won't get that information till when? Tomorrow, late, or?
Oh, no, you could. We'll get a lot of it tonight.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there's going to be a lot of them that if the ballots are mailed in by midnight tonight, then they get counted. So that could be 3 days from now before they get counted. But they'll get up into the higher echelon and probably call the race before that. But
Okay. Yeah, they'll definitely call it before that. They're going to hold off on California just because, but they'll be able to call it tonight at some point. You do believe, right?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
but
I thought-
one of the advantage is only 15% of the people who had the no party affiliation requested a Democratic Party ballot. So that a lot of those, this is Bernie's big hope right now,
Okay.
is that a lot of those people didn't realize they had to request it. Today they went and traded in the ballots that they got in the mail,
Okay.
and they voted today.
Okay. Well, let's hope. Let's hope. Yeah, that's all we can do. I want everybody to remember that this is a political revolution. We're not even one full year out, and that World War II took a long time, a lot longer than this, a lot more difficult than this so far.
In almost every state, Hillary does better with the registered Democrats than Bernie.
Register. Okay.
Independents to put over the top, and if 85% of the independents didn't request a Democratic ballot, and a lot of them wanted one, then it's a substantial number that didn't mail their ballot in.
Okay. And that's a good sign.
Yeah, that would be.
At the end, when I get through all of this blah, 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 blah about what's going on, I just look at Scott and go, good? Okay, good. Bad? All right, yeah.
And one thing about that piece about the turnout, there was also a big Senate race in California today. It was the way the system works in California, it was more than a primary. It's what they have is they're open primaries. Everybody running for the Barbara Boxer Senate seat was on the ballot today, and the top two go on to the general election.
Which is another good thing. We could see the end. We will probably see the end of Barbara Boxer.
Well,
right?
She's retiring, yeah.
Yeah. She's retiring?
Yes.
Oh, well, she went out with a that's great. She went out with a bird. Go freedom, Barbara. You great. You know, another fine woman example. Sorry, I'm just a little. I don't mean. I just want to explain to all women out there. I don't mean that in any. There's no humor there. I really mean that. And again, those of you who know me and know my history will know why. But it saddens me.
And that's it. And in essence, looking at the numbers that I've seen so far, that Kamala Harris will probably replace her.
All right.
Attorney General, the current Attorney. I don't know if she's current Attorney General, but she was Attorney General.
Yeah, I agree. And just looking at comments, everybody talking there, 374 out there. Thank you for being here with us. I am monitoring. We're waiting to see what happens. Nobody's come up yet. They're at 33% complete on California.
33% for a long time.
Well, it just went up 1 percentage point, Scott.
Oh, okay.
It was 32. All right. North Dakota, Bernie, 64.5. Here, let's just run through these real quick together.
And
Let's
when
run
I
through these
look-
real quick.
When I look at the map, I see a lot of the rural area. San Francisco and L.A. There's no reporting.
Okay, so we've got some huge numbers to come in. Some huge numbers to come in, all right? North Dakota, 64.5 for Bernie. California, it's just bullshit right now. Montana, 48% for Bernie. New freaking Jersey, Eddie, my family out there, I don't know what's wrong with you guys. We got to have some conversations. I'm going to be calling Carteret, Woodbridge, Elizabeth. That's for family. As I find out how you guys voted. On Chris, I'm talking to you. New Mexico and South Dakota, both going. Now we're talking 51 to 48, basically in this for Clinton. So in terms of delegates, everybody, 16 to 18, 10 to 10. You know. What's up, Scott?
Yeah, Montana went Bernie, right? It's higher up in those percentages now, right?
It's moving up, and we're 57% complete. So yeah, Montana's there, North Dakota's there. See, it's not looking as horrible it was as looking 20 minutes ago, everybody. And we know California's going to come in huge. And I want everybody to remember this. There has been voter suppression and election fraud, in my opinion, and I'm going to start saying that a lot more, in my view, just to make sure we clarify my view from like Scott's and sometimes facts, because that's going to be my view. There's been voter fraud election fraud and voter suppression across the board. Our system is designed for it.
I also think that we should recognize that what we have accomplished has been great.
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize the ground game that Clinton has wasn't necessarily visible.
Oh, it was huge.
When you have all the establishment Democrats backing you, the other thing that those super delegates have is a ground operation in their states.
Right.
Already built in. So they help turn out the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And
listen, everybody, this is no different than this is when America entered the war in Europe. We had to build a fuck ton of it was insane. We were behind the ball. The Germans had been building war machines for a long time, and we were behind the ball. And that's what Scott's talking about. The establishment has had their machine in place and running for a long time. To come from 50 points behind without that machine, to build the machine in the air, and to fight a blackout by the most powerful propaganda machine on planet Earth, that's huge. That's huge. And it's like battle one. We're done with this. This was engagement one. Election year. That's how this political revolution will go down. The political revolution of 2016. The revolution began with Bernie Sanders' announcement and the people's rise to power. The fight continued on after 2016 as the establishment elected a puppet, and we fought from the ground up to become the actual government. That's the story as this goes. Just that's not a fact. I'm just, supposing there. But really, that's what Scott's proposing. The only thing that makes this fucked up.
For example, like the states where the African American vote was the majority.
Yes.
In the South, with the African American population, the easiest way to turn out the African American vote is in the churches. And when you got the establishment church leaders on the ground,
right, all paid off,
your campaign, they don't necessarily be paid, but
hey, listen, Scott, you heard. They don't necessarily have to be paid off, but you heard Tom Fegan's story. $500. That's what it took to buy off a politician so that they could bring in their hog farm. $500. Right? So that's pretty cheap. I'm guessing they had to pay more for some of those people. That's pretty cheap. I'm just showing everybody the crowd. I saw some people saying Bernie's going to speak soon, and what are you guys about? We're watching. We're keeping track of things. We're keeping track of things, guys. Are we being mean to each other? I'm seeing. Let's not be mean. Let's be nice. I was the one who was pissed off and angry earlier. I really was. And then I had to remember the stuff that I tell you guys every day. I'd be a hypocrite if I got all butthurt today about this. It's just another step in the war. We're gonna cheer the victories. We're gonna commend the people that took the time to stand in line and vote and have their voice heard, and we're gonna move on. And you know, that's just what we do. Philly, we will see you in Philly. Scott will be there. I will be there. I don't know how many people are going to be there. Ryan, I don't know who else is going to be there. Mickey, maybe Liam, I don't know. Tons of people are going to be there. And you guys are helping us get there. Thank you so much. And we bought some cool new gear, and we're going to be covering these historic moments. Scott's going to be covering the People's Summit, and that's coming up. When's the People's Summit? June 17th, right, Scott?
June 17th, yeah.
June 17th, 18th, 19th. It's not much of a secret, but when you got National Nurses United and Cornel West and Bill McKibben and Nina Turner showing up, you're really talking the Bernie bandwagon. Bernie probably going to show up. We're going to be there with Scott and the Live View Solo. And then we're going to be at the Republican, I don't know what it's going to be. Hey, Scott, that's an interesting question. Did you see that Paul Ryan, not very happy with his new boyfriend's comments?
Almost the whole Republican Party has been criticizing Trump the last 2 days.
But I thought they were love fest. I thought they'd made up. I thought they realized money was money, whether it would come from Orange Man or...
They're distancing himself from the statements about the judge.
But he's okay as their party leader. Whatever. He's a racist guy, but he works for everything else. There's your government. What happened to the good conservative Christian right? That was a joke. You know, most of those good conservative Christian rights got busted for weird sex shit or having affairs, like Newt Gingrich. Yeah. Who's got a show now? Notice that. Newt Gingrich. Complete embarrassment as a politician all around. Lying bastard. Is got a show, probably making 6 figures. Bloviating. There's your integrity in media right there. There's your integrity in media. All right.
Well, one thing's for sure.
Yes.
Iowa's going to have a very old senator.
Seriously?
Yeah, Patty Judge won.
That's too bad. That's too bad, everybody. Is that the same position that Tom was vying for?
Yeah.
Tom Fegan, our good friend. We'll see what Tom's going to be doing after this, because I guess Patty, who was the establishment plug-in, who didn't even want to run it, right? She was just like, what? Huh? They woke her up one night and said, here, say you're running. Go.
Well, it's mostly over the Supreme Court thing. All of a sudden they thought that it's possible that they could beat Grassley.
Right.
They recruited someone who's got name recognition statewide. The other 3 didn't. And they didn't raise any money because there were no TV ads for any of the Senate candidates on the Democratic side. And so her name recognition won out.
Name recognition. It's the other reason Hillary Clinton is winning, too. All right, we're going to run this clip while we monitor and wait for Bernie to come on. And if we see that they start the festivities while this is playing, we'll cut away. But this is Thom Hartmann, and this is basically entitled "The Sanders Campaign Explained." And I like what he has to say here. So listen to this, guys. This is Thom Hartmann with some wisdom.
To the rest of the news, there's only one more Democratic primary after the polls close in California tonight. But as far as the media is concerned, the race is already over and Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee. But the truth is, it's incredibly unlikely that Hillary Clinton will actually clinch the nomination with pledged delegates at the end of tonight, which leaves a big question about what Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders will do at the end of the night, especially if he manages to win big in California. So why has the media been calling Hillary Clinton an historic Democratic candidate when she hasn't officially won the Democratic nomination? And what are the next steps for Bernie Sanders and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party as the Democratic primary draws to a close? Let's ask Professor Seth Abramson, a columnist for Huffington Post, professor, English and writing specialist at the University of New Hampshire, and the author of the recent piece, How to Explain the Sanders campaign to an idiot, Paul Krugman, or a Clintonite in 8 sentences. Seth, welcome.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Great piece, by the way. As I think you know, I went off on it at some length last week on the radio. What are your thoughts on what the Bernie Sanders campaign will be doing tomorrow after the last ballot is counted in California?
Well, just to reiterate what you said, there's really no chance that Hillary Clinton will actually clinch or secure or win the nomination today. She'd have to get 78.3% of the pledged delegates available today. That's not going to happen. I think there was a lot of discussion leading up to today from Politico, from People magazine, that California could be a game changer. John King of CNN said that California could be a game changer for superdelegates, but then for some reason they decided to take this poll yesterday. And so now the story that started today was that the race is already over. And I think Bernie's in a tough situation where if he wins California, I think it'll be a 50-50 bet as to whether he continues on pushing for the nomination over the next month to see if something happens with the FBI investigation, for instance, or if Hillary's numbers tank even further against Donald Trump. However, I think if he loses California, it's either going to be over and he'll concede later on this week or right after the D.C. primary.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the fact that the mainstream media is acting as though Hillary Clinton has not clinched the nomination after several secret superdelegates decided to support her?
Well, I mean, I have to say I could answer this in one of many different ways. I'm an English professor at University of New Hampshire, and so words mean a lot to me. Words like clinched or secured or won or captured are simply not words that are appropriate here because she hasn't done any of those things. Based on a poll of superdelegates who don't vote for another 50 days, and in a situation where there are many intervening events that could cause them to change their vote, even according to the media, there are things that could happen that could change their vote. I thought it was very surprising that the media decided to take a poll yesterday rather than waiting until California had voted and having a more accurate superdelegate poll today. And so I think it's a surprising and disappointing situation. My hope is that people in California and the other states voting today come out regardless of the fact that the media has tried to insert itself in this way.
Yeah, I agreed with you on that. Do you think it's hypocritical that Bernie Sanders is trying to woo superdelegates after condemning the whole system?
No, and I've actually heard that a number of times in the mainstream media. I think that what Senator Sanders is doing is he's actually playing by the rules in order to change the rules. Right now, superdelegates are the rule of the day in the Democratic Party. So what he's trying to do is play by the rules as laid out, which I should note are not just that superdelegates exist, but specifically that if a candidate gets fewer than 59% of pledged delegates, that the supers will decide on the basis of the electability question. That's always what they have said they are charged to do. That's what Bernie's going to ask them to do. And then I think if he were to somehow win the nomination, he would abolish superdelegates. But to me, that's not hypocritical. That's using the system to beat the system. And I think that's what a leader does. That's what a smart politician does. And I don't see any inconsistency at all in his position on this.
I'm curious your thoughts on the movement, the political revolution that Bernie Sanders has been saying for years. You know, we need this political revolution. We need to get this thing started. It seems to me like he's kicked it off. You know, the millions and millions of votes. I don't know if it's millions of people, but probably in that neighborhood of people who've seen him in these big stadium events and things like that. He has awakened something. Where does this go if he's not the nominee?
Well, you know, Tom, what I think we have in the mainstream media now are data crunchers more than we have actual journalists. And so there's a real obsession on the horse race every day, wall to wall, 24/7, 365, particularly on cable news, CNN, MSNBC, and the others. And as a result, there's this idea that if Bernie does not secure the nomination, somehow his movement has in some way died. I think that focus on the horse race is really short-sighted. I think you're exactly right that Bernie Sanders got into this race to start a long-term movement to remake the Democratic Party in the image of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal Democratic Party. And that's a long-term process. That's not going to happen in one election. That's not even a 10-year process. It's probably a 25-year process. And so I think you put it exactly right. He's kicked off that process here, whether he gets the nomination or not, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. And do you think that he's going to have significant influence in Pittsburgh at, or Philadelphia, excuse me, not just with the platform committee, but with pretty much everything that's going on? Or are they going to close ranks and try and push him out, do you think?
Well, I think the platform issue is really a red herring. Even Clinton's aides have said that the platform is not really something that voters or even, frankly, Secretary Clinton care about. I think the influence he wants to have is to be able to abolish superdelegates, abolish closed primaries, abolish onerous registration requirements, create a rotating state primary schedule that changes every 4 years, not allow polling places to be closed without the approval of the DNC. I think that's what he wants to change, really, in Philadelphia. The problem is he really won't have power, in my view, unless he wins California. I think if he wins California, they will have to listen to him. They'll have to listen to his, by that point, something like 1,800 pledged delegates plus maybe 50 or 60 superdelegates.
Right.
If he loses California, I think the way that Hillary Clinton and her cadre look at politics, I think it's a very realpolitik approach. I think they'll freeze him out entirely to the extent that they can if he doesn't win California.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. Professor Seth Abramson, great having you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
I wasn't even ready to come back. All right, there we go. So, what'd you think of that? Interesting points there.
Yeah, there was some interesting points. I don't know where everybody gets that Bernie's gonna eliminate superdelegates. He said
He never said that.
that he thinks there's a role for superdelegates. He just lessen the role.
So let's clarify there. Based on Bernie's own mantra, he does what the people want. If the people say we'd like to eliminate them, he may think there's a good idea for them. Maybe he can convince us. Right now, I'm convinced that there's no reason for superdelegates other than to rig the system. And any politician that wants to tell me that they've got wisdom that they can impart, that's my wisdom. There's nothing super. You're a servant. So
he's been a superdelegate for.
I know. He's been. I just. They don't need to exist, because if we modernize, if we move to a 21st century government, we can truly move to one person, one vote. And can I just summarize what that guy is saying in like one sentence, man? And what this whole movement ends up being at this point, and why climate change is going to accelerate this. That guy's basically saying what we're doing is hoping that Bernie Sanders can go to the convention with enough power to change the rules enough so that the next time we might actually have a fair election.
Yeah.
That's it. Whatever those rules happen to be, we're not sure. He listed a bunch of stuff. He listed stuff I hadn't even heard of. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I didn't heard of that. So who knows? That's rotating primary schedule. Is that so that one state doesn't become more important than another as they go through the race and stuff?
I think that I've said all along that if the schedule was reversed, that it would have been Hillary playing catch up, and
right,
because Super Tuesday is what gave her the big lead that turned out to be too big a lead.
So I'm just gonna can I just have fun with you now? So let me take that scenario. Let's take the primary schedule and reverse it, and let's go back in time. And we start with wherever Bernie Sanders is at that point with the blackout. The media can still have a blackout, and we've been working our asses off on BTV and the internet and the Young Turks and everything. So when Bernie does get to the South, Alabama and Georgia are two of the states that you mentioned, how does he do now? If he's had this coverage, if he's had some kind of coverage beyond what he had in the current election.
I think he does better with momentum going in.
He goes better with momentum. So that's just another scenario where the system as it's designed is designed to set up for failure, because the South represents an establishment stronghold, right? Mostly because they don't have internet and they have the lowest education quality in the entire U.S. That's why. How many quotes do we have, Scott, from famous people throughout history that have said, without an informed electorate, you're fucked. Fucked. Where are we least informed? There.
That's not necessarily as true as it used to be.
I guess based on what I'm seeing in results this year, I'd have to agree with you. I'd have to agree with you very much so.
True. There's the stereotype of. I'll say I don't believe it's. I think it's dumb rednecks in the South, right? That way. But
Not connected to the internet. No, remember, we're dealing with a twofold thing. There's undereducation, and there's lack of access to information outside of establishment control. That's a twofold issue. Direct access to the internet is an issue in the 21st century
But
because
there is direct access to the internet throughout the South.
No. Do you remember back when we were talking about the South and why Bernie got his ass kicked throughout it? Do you remember the big map they drew about internet access? Down here in the South, it was a black fucking hole. It was like 1 out of 1 billion households have an internet connection, and it's an old DSL connection that's hooked up to a dude pedaling a bicycle. They had no internet connectivity in the South. They're not using the internet for information. They're plugged into their 1970s tubes and listen. I mean, you've got the poorest people, the most disenfranchised people, the most undereducated people with lack of internet access in the 21st century. And all those statistics were there.
But
And I'm exaggerating.
in certain areas, because it's more of a rural thing than a south-north thing.
Okay, but you've got more rural going on in those areas. I mean, come on.
Here, Iowa, it's almost all rural, and
Is Iowa South? You call Iowa South?
no, but that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of
Yes, but Iowa has a lot better internet access. Water quality is about the same, but their internet access is a lot higher.
in Des Moines and
In Iowa in general.
But no, actually, it's not in Waterloo. We heard.
Well, no, that's
the debate.
that is okay, maybe not in Waterloo. listen, guys, listen, Scott. Now they're now they're angry. Now they're throwing shit at you, my friend.
What are the?
I'm just reading. I'm reading their comments. There's internet everywhere in the South. It's how you use it. It was what Mel Wheeler. No, there was a map that we brought out when this was going down, and it was a big map of the United States, and it showed where internet access was, who had the most predominant internet access. And he must think he's getting ready to go. He's putting up some stuff here, guys. Just keeping track on the broadcast.
Wait a minute.
The South was terrible. What? What, are you seeing something?
Who are you scraping from? Why did he put that? Why did
He always does that.
Screen. Okay.
He always does that.
Okay.
We got to give him credit. I'm going to prop the whole thing up anyway.
No. It was a big image of Bernie and stuff. What was that?
That's his subscribe button.
Oh, okay.
He'll annotate that when we're done. I should be doing that shit. I just,
I thought it was like the other place with the bird and everything else. He does.
No. No, we're not. We're talking about this Bernie Sanders speeches and events, and when we do this, guys, I have it a little cropped out. Hang on.
I see it now, but it was bigger, and it went across the screen, and that's what I thought. Oh, here we go. We're gonna have jumping across the screen. And
no. That's all it ties. Don't worry. No, I won't use crazy guy that puts all the crap all over the screen. I won't go there. No, this says JB Ent says, John, your partner is a naysayer. Get him off. No, it's let's see, what do we got here? Blow Twitter up at the Justice Department. We demand justice. Change is difficult and slow. So thank you for reminding me the wild card in this.
You're right.
The wild card is climate. The wild card is climate.
What I was trying to say is when you go into rural areas, it's just like being in the South.
No. So your understanding of how that is not in terms of what? Scott? In terms of thinking or in terms of,
they act well.
In terms of what? No, tell me. In terms of what?
I don't want to come off as.
It's lack of information. It's lack of information. It just simply comes down to lack of information, access to information.
But it's the same in rural Iowa as it is in rural Alabama.
Well, that's fine. So it's a compound problem. Like it's not just lack of access; it's lack of interest in access. It's all of these things combined. The internet and it's generational too. It's generational too. I hate to say it. But there's a whole reason Bernie Sanders has the 45 and younger generation locked.
Oh, yeah.
And the 45 and younger generation is fairly competent with the internet. You're just going to go there. You know, you throw those combos together. I said it's complex. Say it, Scott. Scott's analysis.
Oh, it's complex.
See here, Scott. You got friends. Jeremy says Scott's analysis is always better than John's. I don't analyze anything, Scott. I just cause shit and get mad. Scott actually has some knowledge and information. He analyzes stuff. That's why I always ask him, and then I argue with him as an ignorant American. That's what we do. You got somebody else said change is slow. Lack of money. Right, it's lack of money too. Money is a factor there, Scott. Who's got more money? People in Iowa or the people in Alabama? I don't know. Maybe they're both poor shit. I know.
People in Birmingham and Des Moines are no, Birmingham's probably poorer than Des Moines. But,
which city sucks worst in America? Let's have a contest. I don't know. You know.
But I think the rural areas, it's not. There isn't that much difference. I don't think.
Yeah.
There's not jobs in rural areas. So.
There's so. This is the. I hate this. Listen, this is like it's like climate change, everybody. Which is the wild card. I keep trying to get back to that. Look, all of the stuff we're talking about in a year won't matter. I promise you, in a year this won't matter. Look at what's happening right now. They had a flash flood in London earlier today. There's stuff going down that's going to accelerate the change because more people will start to recognize that their own survival is at risk. People in the good old U.S. of A. People on the coast, right? So that's the factor there. Somebody said that the changes go slow. John is right about lack of interest here. Bezos saying in the South. Jesus Christ, Scott is drunk. Scott is not drunk. I guarantee you, Scott is not drunk.
No.
We're both just two guys, two human beings, folks. Just talking. I am high. I smoke cannabis for a number of reasons, and this channel is very powered by that. And yeah. Anyway.
There are rednecks in Boonville, New York. That's what I'm trying to say is that not just the South.
So do you want to define that for everybody? I'm not denying it, but I bet you they have better internet access. I guarantee you they're more informed overall.
Not in Boonville.
Stop.
In New York City,
Stop.
yes, but not in Boonville.
All right, we're cutting this. Look, everybody, there is there's the crowd. We're waiting. Where are we at on stats? Cut over to stats. Hang on a second. Where are we at on stats? It hasn't moved. California is stuck at 33%, everybody. 33%. Here, let's take a look at this again. There it is. Delegates right there. Clinton and Sanders. Stop it right there. North Dakota. Actually, none of these numbers have really changed much.
Well, let me look at that New York Times map. Let's see.
Montana's still holding for Bernie. Actually, none of these numbers have changed. We're all just kind of sitting here. Maybe Eddie went to bed. I don't know. He's in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Where are we at? Give me live. Right here we got the CNN results. Give me the live results. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, he asked for people to.
Well, good. So South Dakota.
Over the sheet and nobody jumped at it. Let's see.
South Dakota is Clinton at 51%. North Dakota, Sanders 64%. New Mexico, Clinton 51.5 with 98% reporting. Sorry, I should have told you these guys. North Dakota's done 100%. South Dakota's done 99%. New Mexico's done 98%. And you know, that's a close race in New Mexico, close race in South Dakota. California, they're calling 35% at this point on CNN Politics, with Clinton 61 and Sanders 37, but that probably doesn't include still, what is it, San Fran and L.A. and the major metropolitan areas, right, Scott?
Right. It is.
So don't freak out about that, guys.
But they're only showing 25% on the New York Times. I don't know.
Cynthia, I know you're not on YouTube to see CNN results, but it's not like I have my own team of analysts being able to scrape together data. We just we're pulling in together and grab it. If there's another source you'd prefer to look at, I'd love to go there. Why are you confused, Team Bernie Media? Bernie, are we talking about the results? Are we disappointed in the results? Thank you, Bernie is trending. Okay, we'll run that hashtag. I like that. Thank you, Jesse, for that information. Let me know what's going on, guys. Let me know what you're thinking here. Are we freaking out about the results? CNN is wrong on the precinct reporting for California. I just saw that note, Scott. I don't know what that means. Who has a more accurate place? Who would? Do you want me to look at? I could look at The Guardian. They're just usually a little behind. It's a problem with The Guardian. You know? Who do you want to look at, Scott? Anybody particular?
It doesn't matter.
Montana. Sanders got Montana, guys. 70% reporting, 50% to 45. All right. The Guardian. Okay. Yes. Lathan. We are going to show the live event the moment it kicks in. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up for you, show you guys. We got a great stream coming here from Bernie Sanders Speeches and Events. Go over there. Tell them thank you very much. Watch it over there without our shenanigans, so you can stay here with us in our moderated chat with our wrenches and comment mods, and we'll show your comments on screen. I'm holding off right now because it takes a lot of effort for our comment mods to grab those. We've got a lot loaded up. I could start them up again, but this is actually we started up here. This is what we do. Run these comments. Your opinions across the screen, which is just part of adding to the voice. And we want to have this conversation with you. That's what engagement broadcasting is. And
yeah,
soon,
most of the California results are still mail-in ballots that were counted before the day started.
Okay. So these numbers really aren't indicative. They're very they're not accurate. The chat in the other feed is crazy obnoxious. Sorry about that, Mary. We encourage freedom of speech. We will politely ask you to stop any hate speech. And if you're a troll, we're going to love you and hug you. And if you keep going off, we're just going to kick you out for a while. So that's how we treat trolls.
Yeah.
We are still waiting for results. What? Jill Stein making some statements. She was on Truth Dig earlier today, live. They had that running. Somebody sent me a link to that. Does she play into this at all? Do you think Bernie would even consider the option of third party? There's rumor that they're working out unity right now, which has me kind of irritated. I'll be honest. What do you think, Scott?
He's not going to run third party. He's
not gonna
meeting
do
with
it.
Obama Thursday.
Does this mean the capitulation has already begun?
But I don't. You can still build the movement and stay in the. I think he's going to stay in control of a political movement.
I hope so. I really do hope so. I trust Bernie.
And I think he can do that while endorsing Hillary Clinton.
I don't. That's where I don't. That's like we both believe in Bernie Sanders. I don't think he'll be able to come up with enough.
Between the lines, he's over and over since New Hampshire said that he's going to support whoever the nominee is. So
he did change his stance on that. I have to find that statement where he says we'll let the people decide. But he did say we'll let the people decide. Still some towns, some places. Nothing. See, we got this one area left in. I don't even know what place this is. Out there. It's just Phillips County.
Phillips County.
I was just looking at what was left in. This was. I'm going through that list here. There's got Montana. It's just one Phillips County. Nothing reported in here yet. But Helena, Billings. I don't know what other counties are important there in Montana. 62% reporting there.
Yeah.
California, 25.1%. This is the Guardian. The Guardian's always off with their data. But everybody's. But you guys are telling me that
too.
Yeah, they're saying that the precinct that this we've seen this before actually, guys. Where CNN says a much higher precinct percentage early on in the game, and you're like, why are they reporting that? That's not right. Remember, was that one state that reported like 99% the whole night or something? It was like, okay. I don't see how Bernie can wholeheartedly endorse Clinton. I don't either. I really don't, Goodwitchy. Any more than who could ignore Hillary and her behavior and support her is out of their mind. I agree. Absolutely agree. For Scott, it's a means to an end. It's a strategy. And Scott's willing to go with that strategy in the hopes that we can achieve more. At least that's my understanding, right, Scott?
Right. I just think, especially with the Republican House and Senate, that Trump can do more damage. Hillary, she's going to face the same thing Obama faced. The House is not going to turn to the Republicans. I'm not turn to the Democrats this election. So they're going to stop her from doing anything. They hate her, and so you put Trump in, the House and the Senate are going to be sending them bills left and right. Let's see.
So, by your logic, we put Hillary in office to avoid Trump, who could accomplish some things, albeit terrible things. But we put Hillary in office, who won't be able to accomplish anything. And we spend the next 4 years watching her not accomplish anything.
Right.
Other than self-fracking around the world and start wars, which Syria, we're on the way right now. We've got troops on the ground. They're advising on the front lines. So I think that Obama's basically like, I got one queued up for you. You just got to go to war, and you're good to go, Hill. So.
What Trump is, like I said, the best line that Hillary had tonight was when Donald Trump says, "Make America great again." It's code for moving the country backwards back to times when there were white. She didn't use white, but
no, but
you know
it wouldn't happen. It
Yeah.
wouldn't happen. That would leapfrog us into that paradigm shift. It wouldn't happen. You wouldn't get close to that. There's too many millions of Americans who aren't interested in that, no matter what they think of Bernie or Hillary. There's many more of us that absolutely hate Donald Trump, and that is it's put Satan in the house because we'll light it on fire. That's basically what we're saying. Let Satan take over the house. We're going to light it on fire. You put a Hillary Clinton in there, and nobody understands there is a fire. Everything stays the same. That's my belief. But that's, again, where climate change comes in to save us. Because climate change is going to wake everybody up. Tom Hartman was saying to what's his name, America's awake. Not yet. America's awake maybe about democracy, but America's still asleep at the wheel when it comes to climate change. Absolutely asleep at the wheel. It's going to take some serious environmental disaster around our country, much more serious than we've experienced so far. That's coming this year. And when it hits, and it actually affects rich people, then we'll see some change. Or it affects some of those people that are stuck watching a television and not paying attention to climate change. What I'm really hoping is that it affects news agencies, that it affects the bobblehead newscasters, they're not journalists, that have been lying to us about climate change. I hope it floods their homes. I hope it ruins their vehicles. I hope it destroys their properties. Right? I want them to feel firsthand the effects of climate change and their denial. That's what I hope.
There's no water bottle on the stool yet.
You guys know what he's talking about? You guys know what he's talking about? Let me find the. Here we go. So that we've been watching so many of these rallies. You can tell. So they got the. I feel bad for the behind-the-scenes crowd because they really packed them in there a bit early, but it doesn't look like it's hot in there really. You got the behind-the-scenes crowd, but when they bring the water bottle up, and one of the Secret Service agents will come up and like check things, they'll just like stand there, make sure things are cool. Water bottle will be up there. When that all happens, you know stuff's about to start. So we're keeping an eye on that. Keeping an eye on that. This is and I want to thank you for reminding me that I see somebody Kevin saying a riot. I want to just touch on that. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people in Philly. People that have been given protest permits and people that have not been given protest permits. We are going to be there with a crew to record it as much as we can for the purpose of bringing you the truth. And we're willing to work with any independent news reporter agency out there. We're going to have two uplink devices, an LU70 from LiveView and a LiveView solo unit. We also have a MiFi that can push to Ustream. So we're going to have some uplink units. And anybody who's there and wants to report with us, we work with a system engagement broadcast. We'd like to work with you, connect with some of the other independent agencies out there, work together in some coordinated fashion to cover this event, to make sure we cover all of the protests, to make sure we're covering all of the activity. Because it's going to be historic, and I absolutely guarantee you that the establishment media, whatever they cover of this convention, will be untruthful. It will be a spun narrative designed to make the people become complacent again, designed to paint whatever we have in mind for our paradigm shift in a bad light, because they want us to remain under control. And the only way we can step out from that control is to take our power back. And the only way we do that is by informing the rest of the electorate that is blind. So we are willing to work with anybody out there, and I just wanted to throw that. We'll be there from the 22nd through the 30th, and I will reference the address. We're at, staying at an Airbnb, and just throw it out there, let everybody know. Wolfpack, yeah, I mean, look, TYT is going to be out there, of course. I'm sure all of the big independent agencies are going to be out there, of course. All right. I'm just saying we're happy to work with anybody else who's out there. We're not a big agency. We're a small group of volunteers. We just have the luck of some technology, and some beautiful processes and people that work really well together. Work together and rise. Yes, exactly. It's exactly. And Jenk said it. On a clip earlier, said if you think this democracy is going to be clean and neat and pretty and quiet and PG and okay for all ages, it's not. It's going to be loud. It's going to be angry. It's going to be protest. I mean, you've lied, cheated, and steal your way to an establishment rule, and we're going to come show you the power of the people at the Philly Convention. And we're demanding some change. And if we don't get our change at the convention, we're going to find another way. But we will not stop. And that's it. We must fight on. Nina Turner said it the other day. We cannot do what our forefathers did, and that is they became complacent. Can't do it. It's why we're here in this position today. It's why we're staring at absolute environmental cascade failure, and we're going to witness the deaths of millions over the next couple of years. It'll force us to act. It'll force us to act. Sorry, Jill R. I saw your Trump University logo, 2 huge orange balls, and I was thinking, that's it. We'll send everybody to Trump U because I'm sure they'll get a fantastic education there. I know Cenk hit CNN very hard about counting superdelegates, and they still just were incredulous. They didn't get it. They had no clue. They don't need to get it. They don't care. They absolutely don't care. They really don't understand. What's your problem? It's Hillary. Doesn't everybody just want Hillary? We've been feeding you that narrative. I don't understand why you're not believing that narrative. It blows my mind. I've said this before, but I wake up sometimes, I'm like, do I really live in the United States of America like this? Are they coming on?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not seeing anybody here, but I'm watching. I don't know how much of a delay he's got, guys, but as soon as it kicks in, let me check audio on this real quick. There you go, guys. Here it is.
President of the United States, Bernie Sanders. Thank you all. Thank you. Let me thank Let me thank all of you. Let me thank all of you for being here tonight. And let me thank all of you for being part of the political revolution. I especially want to thank the tens of thousands of volunteers here in the state of California. And I want to thank the people of California for their incredible hospitality. It has been one of the most moving moments of my life to be out throughout this state in beautiful evenings and seeing thousands and thousands of people coming out people who are prepared to stand up and fight for real change in this country. All of you know that when we began this campaign, young people understand that they are the future of America, and they intend to help shape that future. And I am enormously optimistic about the future of our country when so many young people have come on board and understand that our vision, a vision of social justice, economic justice, racial justice, and environmental justice must be the future of America. Our vision will be the future of America. Our campaign from day one has understood some very basic points, and that is, first, we will not allow right-wing Republicans to control our government. And that is especially true with Donald Trump as the Republican candidate. The American people, in my view, will never support a candidate whose major theme is bigotry. Who insults Mexicans, who insults Muslims and women and African Americans. We will not allow Donald Trump to become president of the United States. But we understand that our mission is more than just defeating Trump. It is transforming our country. The vast majority of the American people know that it is not acceptable that the top 0.1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. We're going to change that. And when millions of Americans are working longer hours for lower wages, we will not allow 57% of all new income to go to the top 1%. And we will end a corrupt campaign finance system. Democracy is not about billionaires buying elections. And we will end a broken criminal justice system. And we will break up the major banks on Wall Street. And we will will join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right. And we will bring about real immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. Of taxes. And what we understand, and what every one of us has always understood, is that real change never occurs from the top on down, always from the bottom on up. That is the history of America, whether it is the creation of the trade union movement, the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the gay movement. And that is what our movement is about. But you all know it is more than Bernie. It is all of us together. It is what this movement is about, is millions of people from coast to coast standing up and looking around them and knowing that we can do much, much better as a nation. That whether Wall Street likes it, whether corporate America likes it, whether wealthy campaign contributors like it, whether the corporate media likes it, we together, we know what our job is, and that is to bring the American people together to create a government that works for us, not the 1%. Next Tuesday, we continue the fight in the last primary in Washington, D.C. We are going to fight hard to win the primary in Washington, D.C. And then we take our fight for social, economic, racial, and environmental justice to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am pretty good in arithmetic, and I know that the fight in front of us is a very, very steep fight. But we will continue to fight for every vote and every delegate we can get. Tonight, I had a very kind call from President Obama, and I look forward to working with him to make sure that we move this country forward. And tonight, I had a very gracious call from Secretary Clinton and congratulated her on her victories tonight. Our fight is to transform this country and to understand that we are in this together, to understand that all of what we believe is what the majority of the American people believe. And to understand that the struggle continues. I want to thank the people of North Dakota. It appears that we will likely win Montana as well. I don't think anybody knows what will end up here in California, but I suspect the gap will significantly diminish. And if this campaign has proven anything, it has proven that millions of Americans who love this country are prepared to stand up and fight to make this country a much better place. Thank you all. The struggle continues.
Well, that was an awful short speech there for Bernie. Good one, though. Had some fire in it. What do you think, Scott? Scott, you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Sorry, I had it muted
It's all right.
because I was listening to the TV.
Yeah, so what'd you think of that?
The struggle continues.
The struggle continues. He had some stronger words
than last night. Yeah.
What did you think of those words?
I thought he clearly made the movement continues, the struggle continues, and we'll see where it goes from here. But he was strong on that we're going to Philadelphia and fighting for the social justice, environmental justice, the there was a list of 4 or 5 that he repeated twice. So he's
He
kind of
did.
framing that that's what the focus of the revolution is those. Yeah.
Right, absolutely, and and his words. What did he say? We're taking this for every we're going to go for every delegate. We're going all the way to Philly. This doesn't stop. That's what did he say? He said, I had a very nice call with Obama and excited about working together with him.
Yeah.
He said, and I had a nice call with Hillary to congratulate her.
On tonight's victories.
Right, on tonight's victories. There was no, and I'm excited about working with her. That wasn't put in there. He's interested in working with I'm just gonna read that into there. All I want. He's
True,
right.
but what wasn't there? He didn't say congratulated on winning the nomination.
Right.
He didn't concede the nomination.
No, he said exactly. That's very important.
He said on tonight's victories.
Right. And yeah, so he kept it short. He gave some stump stuff, and then he went off on some more powerful stuff, talking about the future, where things are going, where they're headed, that it's a struggle. I like the fact that he used that word because when it's narrative, struggle sounds like an ongoing, long-lasting, something that doesn't end, and I'm glad he needs to be using these words, right? For as much as I want it to be over next week, and Scott's like, how about 2 years? I'm going, whatever, it's a struggle, and we need to move this forward as fast as we can, and it's not done. This is look, if nothing else, and Scott, you know this better than I do, we have reported on this kind of thing happening around the world with every other country but our own. And now we are in that kind of mess. We are in the same opportunity to fix things, and we have all the other countries that have been through this bullshit to look at and know how not to do it. So I don't know. Of course, we started most of those.
Things can move faster in other countries.
They can. I think they can move faster in this country too. I just think it's going to have to get a lot more uncomfortable than it's going to have to get a lot more uncomfortable in whatever way before it can move. That's, I think, was your point to saying that in all these other countries things are a lot even worse, or basically, yeah. The situation has to get worse. We haven't bottomed out on our establishment addiction. That's basically what it comes down to. Thank you everybody for being here so much. Great audience. You guys had fantastic. The struggle continues. I don't know, Jesse. We'll try it. We'll see what shows up there. Who knows? Thank you. Bernie is definitely trending. I like that one. We'll be running that if it's up there tomorrow. What else is it's going on? Hillary is trending. I'm with her. I talked about that. I will never be with her, and I am ashamed for the feminine that she will be the representative. I really am. What?
A little on that. As far as feminist issues and stuff, she has been a long time advocate. We can't.
I disagree. I disagree. Where is that long-term stance? Where is that? What has she done for women's rights? I mean, I don't know. What has she done?
Well,
women.
Secretary of State.
She sold weapons. She increased women in business. Is she a role model because she sold weapons of war and fracking? Is she a role model because she staged regime change?
Different issues. I'm just saying that she's been an advocate for women's rights through her whole political career.
Well, but that's kind of like saying you and I are for men's rights. Isn't that kind of by default because she's a woman? I don't know. I'm just curious.
It's totally unfair on that.
What actually has she done? I'm just curious. What actually has she done to advance women's rights? I would actually bet you Bernie has been on that fence more aggressively than she has. At least he's had a more consistent record in that sense. He wants more money for women. I'm sorry. I don't see her as being a great representative for women. I don't. I know. Oh, but it doesn't matter. You guys, Hillary starts wars. Thank you, Leela. Yeah. This man is something. Yes, he is. Only 541. He is. All right, guys. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Ooh, look at this. I'm just going to read these to you, Scott. It's flying through. John is so right. Not tonight, Scott. Let's stone women to death. She associates with Saudis who do this. Hillary starts wars. Protected Bill against women he harassed and attacked. That's true. Representing the Let's talk about that whole time with Bill and the rapes and the women and that's not very much feminist. She's not a feminist. She's pond scum. No, she has a. All right. So obviously this is a big discussion. What I'm trying not to do is I don't want to attack her character. I'm attacking her achievements or lack thereof in that realm. That's all. I don't like her as a person either. But not the point. The point is that Montana for us, right?
Right.
North Dakota for us, right? We got delegates out of the other states. It's not like they were blowouts, guys. New Jersey was the only wow, I don't know what's going on in New Jersey. But Bernie got other delegates. That's more power in our hands. Remember, it's just collecting power, right? And California. Based on what you know tonight, Scott, can you make any changes in your predictions on California for tomorrow?
I don't think it looks really great for Bernie right now.
So less of a chance of actually winning than we thought maybe before, just based on where we sit. It's a pretty wide gap.
Yeah, and the fact that he didn't say after tonight we'll have 152 or 53. I mean 22 or 23.
What do you mean?
He said clearly after tonight it looks like we'll have won 22 states. He's there now without California.
Right.
And then he said, I don't know what's going to happen in California, but we're going to close the gap. He wasn't saying that we're going to win.
Yeah. So I just want everybody to be prepared tomorrow. Be prepared for Hillary to win California. Right? And be prepared to just pick up and move on, because this doesn't end. Market Garden. Just going to remember Market Garden. And Duco, you're not around to tell me not to remind everybody about Market Garden. We have our D-Days and we have our Market Gardens. Either way, the struggle continues, like Bernie says. And maybe that'll be the hashtag for tomorrow. We will see you in the morning, newsroom at 9 a.m. Noon Eastern, at 9 a.m. Pacific. And did we have an announcement of a rally tomorrow? Anything going on tomorrow, Scott? Or no? I don't remember. There's nothing, right? I don't think Nico's hanging out in here. Let me look at that. No, there's not. So
there will be stuff in D.C., but I don't think it'll be tomorrow.
Okay. So I want to remind everybody of two things really quick. It's not about the horse race. I'm getting caught up in it. But it's not about the horse race, the election game that the establishment media is presenting to us. The stakes are so much bigger. The stakes are, as Bernie said, transforming our democracy, transforming our nation. It's not going to happen in this election. It's not going to happen in a year. But it needs to happen as fast as possible, because we are facing a dystopian society that's on the way thanks to climate change. What we need to do is brace for it and prepare for it. And so we can do that with or without Bernie Sanders in office. And we need to be thinking of how we move our nation forward and the world forward to prepare for climate change that is affecting us right now around the world. And that, I think, is going to be our saving grace. I think that is what is going to unify all of us and stop us worrying about petty differences and bring us together to save our planet. That really is, in the end, the focus. Bernie knows that. And so just keep that in mind. Don't be discouraged by what happened today. Don't be discouraged by all of the election fraud and the suppression and the rigging and the bullshit. Because this is how it goes, and we just need to fight on. And the struggle continues. We're going to go out with Bernie Sanders, Do Not Despair. This is from Bernie Sanders for President. This is another great volunteer-provided media, another example of the movement. that has never been seen before in history. We have made history. In my opinion, a much greater, a much more important history than Hillary has made, according to established media this evening. You guys are incredible. You're wonderful. And thank you all for being here. We will see you tomorrow, as soon as I have this framed up. Thank you, Comet Mods, Wrenches, everybody in BTV and PoliticalRevolution.tv that makes this happen. Here we go.
What we are dealing with right now is a ruling class in this country who in many ways act like alcoholics and drug addicts. They cannot get enough. No matter how many children live in poverty, no matter how high the unemployment numbers are, they want more and more and more. And I say enough is enough. Here's the simple truth, that in America we have millions and millions of working people who are working hard but are not making enough money to put bread on the table or to take care of their kids, and that has got to end. In my view, it is time that the United States of America join the rest of the industrialized world and guaranteed health care to all people as a right, not a privilege. The American people are angry. And what the American people are angry about is they understand that they did not cause this recession. This recession was caused by the greed, the recklessness, and the illegal behavior of the people on Wall Street. They could write a check out for $50 million or $100 million and it would not matter at all. And I want people to take a deep breath and think about whether or not that is what we believe American democracy is supposed to be.
And we know now that government by organized money is just as dangerous as government by organized mob. Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The fact of the matter is that what we are now talking about doing, most of the countries of Europe did years ago. We are behind every country pretty nearly in Europe in this matter of medical care for our citizens. And then those who say that this should be left to private effort.
Is all over this country. You got a lot of bright, decent, good people. They're saying, you know what? The situation is hopeless. You can't beat the Koch brothers. You can't beat the billionaires. You can't win. I'm giving up. That is exactly what they want us to believe. And I beg of you, do not enter that world of despair.
Huge